Ah! Ah! Inside out of bacon, the ashes are divine. What's up, chat? Look what it's become, guys. I'm actually drawing fucking perspective lines. And stuff like that I don't want to have to draw. I think I've come to the conclusion that it's easier to take extra steps to get things more properly planned on the first try instead of like thinking I'm some sort of god tier artist and just being like I can just like one shot it without actually doing rough drafts and shit, because then I just end up redrawing shit in the long run. Can't you use the rulers in Psy to do that for you? One, I'm not using Psy. Psy is a pretty incomplete program. It doesn't even have diagonal brushes. Don't use Psy unless you're obsessed with using something that's free. Clip Studio Paint is cheap enough that you should just buy it. Two, you can have perspective rulers, but they're not going to automatically draw your character in perspective for you. They're just going to, you know, draw boxes for you, but I don't actually need like the automatic guidelines to draw things in like generally a correct perspective. I just need to take the time. Okay, this is way too thin. Edit. See, this is the type of shit that if I actually just try and draw it on the first try, it's not going to work. Honestly, even thicker. Yeah, this is about the right thickness right here. how are you doing lately? I'm coming to terms with the fact that I have to draw rough drafts and also probably study some more anatomy and stuff like that. And also, I have to actually start preparing to go to Japan if I'm actually going to go to Japan, which includes a lot of very annoying, like, legal and financial shit that I have to make sure I'm on top of, and, you know, a lot of annoying stuff. I'm planning on selling my car. That's going to be a pain in the ass. There are some insane artists doing amazing things with Psy. I mean, it's just a drawing tool, dude. I've used Psy before. It's just a normal drawing tool that doesn't offer as many features as other drawing tools. I mean, if you're going to say that you can do amazing things with a pencil, I'm saying if you want to have all the easiness to make your life easier, all the little bells and whistle options, you should just go ahead and buy Clip Studio Paint because it's pretty cheap. As someone who's used both. Honestly, not having diagonal brushes, I'm talking about shit like this that has this kind of brush angle to it, is a huge turn off to me. They might have updated that after that, but also I thought that Psy, it was in general free, but then they kept on trying to figure out ways to get people to pay for it. It's just like Photoshop in that it was something that was extremely relevant in the early stages of the internet because there weren't that many drawing programs, but now there's other better alternatives. What is the Blue Book value? Blue Book car. $2019 ABC Honda Insight. Oh, they want me to send it to my email? Just give me the fucking value right now. Yeah, whatever, I'll do it later. It should be really high because there's not many miles on it. If it's not very high, then I'm going to tell dealerships to fuck off and try and find a private buyer. I don't know if the car market, if it's up or down right now, honestly. The current economy is very hard to tell what the fuck's going on right now. Like, there's all these economic indicators that show that we might already be in some form of, like, a minor recession, but then, like, the entirety of the stock market and the establishment and Trump trying to threaten the Fed with possible deportation to Siberia and stuff like that is trying to keep the economy afloat with, like, every single tool possible. High demand for used cars, but better to sell directly to other people. Dealers would stiff you. The problem is that I'm kind of on a time limit, so I should probably start going right now, honestly, and start posting that shit early. Well, I'll look at the prices that I see first and then get, like, quotes from dealers. Have a Carfax with you? Yeah, good point. Also, you're a man, they're less likely to fuck with you. I'll make sure that I'll be holding my AR-15 by my side. If you mean the dealers are less likely to fuck with me, I'm not exactly a used car specialist, but I don't think there's some, like, patriarchy honor code between men being like, hey, you're a bro, I trust you. As fellow bros, we both suck each other's dicks. We'll definitely give each other's good price. The other day, a woman tried to sell us a car. I scammed her because bitches, you know. I don't think that's how it works. I think it's more like, I will try and scam every other human being on the planet if I am a used car salesman, but on the other hand, I haven't tried to sell my car yet. I do remember when I bought the car, the dealership was trying to get me to finance it, and I was just like, no, I have my cash, I'm gonna pay for it in cash, and they're like, but, please, please, we will not make any money unless you finance your car. And I was like, don't care, LMAO. If you won't let me pay for it in full in cash right now, I will, fucking leave right now. And they're like, okay. They smelled the autism reeking out of my body, and they're like, there's no way we can negotiate with this Giga Chad Tism king right here. He has no sense of empathy or sympathy. We can't talk to him. He hates us already. Back to regular streaming schedule? Yeah. Every other day. I said I was gonna take a little time off to work on my commission, but I think I can do that on the in-between days. Why don't they let you buy your car in cash? They do let you buy it, they just don't want you to. They make all their money from you being, you know, paying them 15% interest or whatever per month for like 10 years or whatever, so. They asked me to show them my bank account before I signed them a check, and I was like, here, take a look at it, and they're like, okay, fine. And they're like, sir, please, would you like any of the other warranties, extra warranties, please, sir? And I was like, no. Bye. Goodbye, sir. It's hard to tell when you're getting a good deal from somebody as skeezy as a used car salesman, but when they start, you know, pleading to your conscience and morality to give them more money somehow, that means you're doing the right thing, so. They want to make interest on your purchase. Basically, 90% of the US economy is being supported by debt and interest, in which the poor people are paying debt because they have like 30,000 credit cards, and then the rich people are making interest because they just have a shit ton of money in capital funds and stuff like that, and they don't have to pay the same kind of taxes on it. However, there is a loophole to this, which is, unlike some countries, credit card companies can't make you take the inheritance to your children or next of kin or whatever. So all you have to do is sign up for as many credit cards, use a shit ton of money, be in a shit ton of debt, and then die, and there's nothing they can do about this. It's a legitimate life hack that I'm surprised other people aren't doing, but I think most people don't really consider their death, so. If I had some sort of terminal cancer, I would just be like doing that not because I wanted to spend my money, I'd just be doing that specifically for the sole purpose of fucking over credit card companies. If you are mentally stunted, you will agree to pay for the rest of your life. America is a highly consumerist country. They don't even understand that they're signing up for something. Most people don't even understand the concept of being paying interest every month. It's too complicated for them. Like, I know this is hard to understand if you're like a Euro, but a good percentage of Americans are literally like, if I have a credit card limit of $6,000, that means I have $6,000. $6,000 to spend right now. And then like 10 years later, they'll be like, huh, weird. Why am I paying $500 per month on nothing? I don't understand how that happened. Perhaps something about my budgeting is going wrong. I'm not sure why. The fact that there's so many credit cards that are constantly sending you ads to be like, here, sir, please sign up for my credit card. If you sign up for this credit card, we'll give you like 2% cash back on everything you buy. It's literally free money. I'm like, oh, wow, what a great deal. So the fact that they're willing to give me all these quote-unquote great deals, what that says is that they're just banking on the 1% chance that I can no longer, you know, pay my monthly credit card, and then suddenly I'm in debt, and then they can make all their money back. Here, the only people that use interest payments are the ones that either have no choice or are retarded. See, that's the cool part. In America, everybody is retarded. Some people don't understand this. But once you get that in your mind, that America is basically a third world country with like first world economy, suddenly everything seems to make sense now. Gotta get the brand car and brand clothes, and of course Uber yourself McD's. So I was door dashing when apparently DoorDash was like paying a bunch of extra money to door dashers so that they could consolidate the market and become number one. And then the company itself was losing money. And apparently they've changed that now so that if you DoorDash, you don't get paid as much money as someone who's doing the deliveries. And then the people who are using DoorDash have to pay more as well. Like the customers have to pay more as well. So it'd be interesting if I tried doing it in 2025 to see how the whole tech company scam works now that they've consolidated the market in America at least. But it was a horrible deal for DoorDash customers to begin with. It's like you're paying like $40 for $15 of McDonald's. I would have thought that since you guys have that weird credit system, at least people would be well informed about basic payments and economy. Ha ha ha. Why do you think we have the weird credit system in the first place? A friend sent me a link to a Stanley Cup because it was in Mets colors, thinking I'd want it. Every time you say Stanley Cup, I keep on thinking of the NHL trophy, not the female collector's item. Why the fuck were women... what year was this? Why was there a brief point in history when women were like, I must buy this specific brand cup? It's the only way for me to prove that I'm a girly girl by drinking from my pink Stanley cup. Like, theoretically, it could be any cup. TikTok trend, someone famous uses it, or a trend. Stanley Cups were popular among Mormon housewife influencers who'd fill it with soda. They'd have limited colors, so they became collectible. Interesting. Once again, like everything else in the American economy, it goes back to corn syrup and weird forms of Christianity. America would be a much better country if it was just colonized by Catholics. Just throwing that out there. The fact that the Catholic Church opened up all this space for other forms of Christianity was a huge mistake. They switched from Stanley Cups to Labubus. Do we have anybody who knows about the Labubu market? I heard that it was crashing right now. Guys, is my retirement fund completely worthless? Tell me it isn't so. New Orleans was colonized by Catholics and we are drunkards who encourage tourists to flash boobs, so I guess it worked out? Yeah. I mean, you compare New Orleans to Mormon land. I guess they're not that different. It's just that all the sodas and bright colored drink in New Orleans are full of alcohol and not just sugar, but... So maybe it's the same thing. I don't know. Saying colonized by Catholics and not mentioning those Catholics were French is a choice. If America had been colonized by Italian Catholics, we would have really good food. Which honestly is the only thing that really matters to me. Labubus are still popular, no worries. Are you sure? Labubu market crash. Pop Mart shares tank as Labubu doll hype vanishes. Pop Mart stock outlook 2025. It's seen its hyped up stock rally come to a sudden halt, wiping out nearly $13 billion in value in a matter of weeks, as per report. As usual, that $13 billion value never existed, but we won't go deep into that. The sudden slide follows a downgrade by JP Morgan and Chase, whose analysts warned that Pop Mart's valuation is priced for perfection. Any small fundamental miss, negative media reports might drive underperformance. I swear to fucking God, these people, fucking stock traders, and the people who buy Labubu dolls, because they're basically the same thing. We live in a clown world in which people think there's value in shit because other people think there might be value in shit. And I mean often literal pieces of shit. If people are like, look at this piece of shit, It's a limited edition. You'll never get this piece of shit ever again. And people are like, oh man, maybe I should invest in this shit. It'll be worth so much more in 10 years. My Halloween costume is a thoughty Labubu. I need this trend to last till October 31st, please. If your slut Labubu costume is no longer relevant, you can always modify it and become a slut minion. The minions are always relevant. Or you could become Slutty Shrek. I'm sure Slutty Shrek is pretty easy. You just need green face paint. Women and dressing like sluts? Yes. The only way to fight back is for men to also dress like sluts. We can't let women dominate us in the slut category. We all have to dress like Haruge. It's the only way to fight female oppression. Like, why the fuck would you buy some expensive limited shit if you don't even like it? Because it's going to be worth so much in the future. You don't understand. You're not an investor like me. I have extra fluffy fabric if any of you also want to be slutty Labubus. You better hope that global warming hasn't kicked in on October 31st, because that sounds really hot and uncomfortable if it's not, like, properly freezing temperatures. I guess you can... The good thing about it being a female and dressing like slutty whatever in Halloween is it means that you can, like, wear less clothing. It used to be a bad thing because Halloween... It would often, like, hit freezing temperatures when I was a kid, but nowadays it barely struggles to not be, like, sweltering hot, so... Slutty Shrek seems like a better costume idea every day. If anybody mistakes you for Princess Fiona instead of Slutty Shrek, you have to tell them that, no, this isn't Princess Fiona, it's a female version of Shrek, and he's also a slut. It's different. Rule 63, Shrek, yes. The only thing I'll consume is ass. Honestly, I'm gonna be 100% real with you guys right now. The whole sticking my penis in the place that the poop comes out, I don't really like it. Especially when there's other holes you can stick your penis in. I don't understand why there's some hentai artists who are just like, I will only draw anal going forward from now. Like the ear. Or if you're a Yonaguro artist, you open a hole in the skull and stick your penis in there. Although there's a lot of Yonaguro art where they also stick it in the ear as well. My Yonaguro hentai artist, one thing they've taught me is that women enjoy having their brains messed around by the penis. It causes them immense amounts of sexual enjoyment. This might not be true in real life. I'm not sure, guys. When the race war ends, do you think the Appalachian mountain giantesses will come down to placate the grieving masses by breeding with the winners? I'm afraid to tell you the truth, guys. The only people left in Appalachia are coal miners with black lung who are already dying. Everybody has already left. Also, Americans keep on talking about race wars and shit, and they don't actually do anything. I'm not saying I want shit to actually happen, but Americans are, especially right-wing Americans, are constantly being like, guys, it's happening now. The boogaloo. There is no race war. My white quarterbacks are working well with my black wide receivers. I don't know, man. Unless you have a Josh Allen, you better be hoping your quarterback is black in the year 2025 because you want him to be able to scramble. I know this will make no sense to people from an older generation and also to Euros as well, but there was a legitimate argument when I was growing up that black people couldn't be quarterbacks because, i.e., they weren't smart enough or some shit like that. And now in 2025, we're like, please, we need somebody who can run around like crazy. Never ask a Stormcloak the race of his wife. My Argonian wife is always complaining about the cold Nord winters. All hail our King Lamar Jackson. R.I.P. Lamar losing to Buffalo again. I was watching that. I don't watch much NFL, but that was a nice kick W moment. Isn't being the average basketball player like being a quarterback? They pass balls and make decisions. Meh. I don't know. If you're a good basketball player, you can probably pass the ball, but you can be you can just be tall and shoot over people and not pass the ball as well, I guess. I.e. Kevin Durant. If you're tall enough, you don't have to pass. Also, basketball is infinitely easier to understand than football, so you don't need that as high an IQ, I would say. There's only 5 people instead of 11. Honestly, if you don't understand basketball, there's basically only one basketball play. In the NBA level, at least. It's just different varying degrees of pick and roll. Quarterback is one of the highest paid sports positions, and yet there's not enough quarterbacks to fill like 30 teams, honestly. As soon as you have like your backup quarterback come in, then everyone's like, oh no, it's not going to be pretty. I raid iShield 21 and still not sure about all the downs. The We're not going to let our star black wide receiver play in this American high school football team because he's black and the coach is racist is still the funniest like Japanese author knows absolutely nothing about American society moment I've seen. And I think the author of iShield 21 is a really good manga author because he's had multiple hits, but his complete lack of understanding of American racial dynamics will never not be funny. He doesn't understand that the most racist white guy, Alabama guy, who has a long history of being in the Ku Klux Klan, would personally go and murder his white high school football coach if he was refusing to play the star black receiver for racial reasons because, losing is not an option in American football. Americans are so competitive, we'll put our racism aside to win. Yes. While we're on the gridiron, we are all brothers. And when we get off the gridiron, then the black people have to go in the back of the bus and use the separate drinking fountain, but we don't talk about that. Sports clubs are basically cattle for their rich owners. Kind of, but not always. The good sports club have owners that are so rich that the owner no longer cares about making money off of the sports club and they see it as a toy in which they're willing to waste as much money as possible to win, i.e. Steve Ballmer paying Kawhi Leonard an extra year's salary under the table through a shell company that went bankrupt because he has way more money than every single other owner on the planet. And he just doesn't give a fuck anymore. The bad owners are the ones who are like, oh, I'm running the Chicago Bulls, but I want to make a profit. Which is why the Chicago Bulls have been awful for like the good part of the 21st century. They won't defend purity of their running pets like they will the board of their buddies. Well, yeah, no shit, but that goes for literally every other human being. Actually, I think you guys are overestimating rich people. Rich people also are susceptible to shit like who is cool and who isn't cool. And a lot of rich owners of sports teams desperately want to believe that they're part of the team. They want to be part of the cool crowd. And deep down they know that no matter how much money they use, no one actually likes them and cares about them. But they like to delude themselves into feeling like they're part of the sports team. They're not that different from us. Remember Trump taking the trophy? Actually, I don't. Whose team trophy did he take it from? I mean, if you watch the NBA, the owner literally is allowed to like carry around the trophy after the team wins as if he actually did some shit. Did he take the Chelsea trophy? Wait, was a Premier League soccer team visiting Trump in the White House? Is that what happened? Why the fuck would a Premier League team show up? It's the funniest shit. Let me look up Trump takes Chelsea trophy. Why Chelsea trophy is in the U.S. President's office. The Club World Cup trophy, which Chelsea beat Paris Saint-Germain to win in July in New Jersey, can be seen on display in the President's office. Following the final in July, President Trump said he was told he could keep the trophy in recognition of the United States hosting the month-long tournament. I said, when are you going to pick up the trophy? They said, we're never going to pick it up. You can have it forever in the Oval Office. We're making a new one. And they actually made a new one, so that was quite exciting, but it is in the Oval Office right now. All that says is, A, the trophy doesn't mean anything. According to FIFA, that is not quite the case. There are in fact 3 Club World Cup trophies in existence. Trump is just desperate to have shiny gold objects. Trump could be possessed by like a literal Old Testament greed demon, and he couldn't be more greedy looking than him in this fucking photo right here, where he's actually doing the rubbing the hands together greed sign in front of the giant gold coin. This man is like a fucking caricature that comes out of like old folk tales where like the human desire for gold and shit causes someone to be led astray, and then like they fall into a demonic trap and they're changed into like a gold statue for eternity or some shit like that. On the other hand, in terms of point counterpoint, fuck Chelsea, so it's hard for us normal humans to understand, but a lot of these rich people haven't actually accomplished anything in their life, and they're extremely aware of that deep in their subconscious, and they have serious self-confidence issues, and they know their fathers were deeply disappointed in them and so on, so they're desperate to get their participation trophies even if they didn't participate. I mean, the number one case that I can never get over and keep on bringing up is Elon pretending that he's like a world record holding speedrunner of Diablo 4 and Path of Exile 2 when he doesn't even play the fucking game. That's like some of the funniest shit of all time. And the fact that he thinks people wouldn't even notice that he doesn't know how to play the game really says all you need to know about these people. They are just like completely desperate for approval. He what? LMAO? Yeah, I've talked about this multiple times, but I have to keep on reminding people that Elon pretended that he was like the number one record holder in Path of Exile, and then he had the gall to actually fucking stream it, and then everybody immediately noticed that he didn't know how to play the fucking video game, and they're like, So it's one thing to just like pretend that you're actually good at a video game and lie about it while you have like a professional Chinese person to play the game for you, but The fact that he thought he could get away with streaming it and then thought that nobody would actually even notice that he didn't know like the most basic facts about how to play the video game. Yeah. It really tells you anything you need to know. We all want the billionaires to be Giga Chads, but really they are chuds. So if you want to go back to the period in which the billionaires were Giga Chads, you have to go back to like the Gilded Age. Like, there's all those stories about Hearst, the newspaper tycoon. William Randolph Hearst had a major feud with Joseph Pulitzer. William Randolph Hearst fueled American support for the Spanish-American War. William Randolph Hearst had a famously scandalous love life. William Randolph Hearst built himself a California castle. And here's an image of what it looked like inside. He had like fucking... Yeah, he had free-range zebras. Look at this shit. He was literally living in like an oriental palace. He had a private fucking zoo. He tried to destroy Citizen Kane. And so on. This makes me wonder, why don't they actually try to do stuff like, I mean, be a normal human and start sucking at something and become better at it? They sure as hell have the time for it. So, I just said that billionaires were like us, but they're not like us in the aspect that if they weren't, if they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, most of them literally have never had to, like, accomplish anything on their own in their entire life. So they don't actually understand the concept of like you're bad at something at first and then you have to like spend time to get better at it. This is like an entirely foreign concept to them. And they wouldn't even understand if you explained it to them, so... This is especially true for Nepo babies like Elon. Huntington Guardians, railroad tycoon is cool as hell. Robber barons would buy text by Newton and make beautiful buildings. Yeah. Like, so back in the day, like the Gilded Age was like the second generation of wealth, but they were still kind of like bloodthirsty people that understood of like crushing their competitors. And if you want to get to the real Giga Chad, it's like the generation before that who were like murdering all their competitors to get their foot in the door. Like during westward expansion and shit like that. The current rich people in our economy, they made their money during the tech boom after they had their parents buy a bunch of stock for them or some shit like that. or they were just inherited money directly from their parents and the power of the markets and interest rates made them rich. They haven't had to earn anything. Why can't at least one billionaire make a high-speed rail and not like a stupid hole in the ground? The point of billionaires isn't actually to make something at this point. We're not at that stage in capitalism anymore. The point of capitalism is to rub two coins together eternally to make more fictional coins because we don't actually have any gold standard anymore. The entire period in which like we built stuff and then made money off of people buying things and stuff is kind of over at this point. You make money by convincing public funds to be, you know, shuffled into your project that will never be finished, and then giving yourself a salary or whatever, not by actually building the high-speed rail. Hey, if you like high-speed rail getting built, you can always go to like Japan or something, I guess. I'm looking forward to being able to live without a car. And, you know, having that thing called public transportation, it will be cool. Do you think billionaires would try to earn something if the swarthy Appalachian giantess you're drawing would want them to earn their affection? I don't think billionaires are actually capable of doing anything, honestly. And I also don't think that they're actually even that capable of making money. I think it's just they're just being propped up by the system where money gives birth to more money. I don't actually think that they have to, like the ones that are like actually talented at investing, like Warren Buffett and stuff, can make even more money. But even if you're not talented in investing, you still won't lose money ultimately because so much of the system is rigged to make the line go up. It's funny how Japan works that even some porn stars can make it as big as mainstream celebrities. Japan has a weird, like, both highly conservative and highly unconservative culture. There's still, like, extremely unfair shit that porn stars have to deal with, like housing discrimination and shit. But then also they can be, like, huge stars as well. It's not like everything is nice. It's a very, I don't know, contradictory culture at times, I would say. I feel like the younger generation is fairly progressive. In general, people don't give a fuck in Japan. That's the easiest way to understand Japan. Is that even if they don't like something about you, they're not going to come out and like complain to you about your behavior and stuff unless they really feel like you're fucking with group dynamics. Because there isn't like a real concept of like morality usually. It's all just like keeping the status quo. So you'll be expected to like do stupid shit to keep the status quo in your job, for example, like going to, after work drinking that you don't want to go to and stuff like that. They still censor blur their porn. Well, that's the thing about Japan. If it's working, they don't really fix it. Like facts, yeah, if it was America, they would have some sort of outside consulting company come and be like, you have to streamline your operation. Instead of using this fax, which will take you 5 minutes to send information back and forth, you must sign up to our, our special unique system that everybody's going to learn how to use, and it will take you 10 minutes to send shit back and forth, and also you'll pay us, $30,000 a month or whatever for this technology we're offering you. That's what they fucking do. Fax machines are extremely helpful for, sending a nice one sheet of page just back and forth very quickly. It also forces the sender to actually like cut their information down so it's like a single page and stuff. So it inherently makes the entire operation more efficient. One thing about Japanese culture I really like is the prioritization of quality for products and services. America kind of just allows everything to fall into victim of shitification. Because American shitification is only accelerating. The high quality of goods and services in Japan is going to feel like really weird once I get there, honestly. Japan is like the Todd meme where he's like, it just works, except it actually does just work. Unless it's like a video game made by Konami or something like that, then it doesn't just work. But when it comes to shit like food and, the trains running on time, stuff that actually matters in your daily life, everything just kind of works. And if something doesn't work, you can usually get someone to fix it very quickly. And they're not going to be angry that you're going to expect your foods and your goods and services to actually work. Except for the Suica card when there's a chip shortage. Oomph. What? You mean like a new Suica card? Just buy the fucking ticket, dumbass. How hard can it be? Use your cash. Stick it in the machine. I don't understand people who put, like, their entire life savings on the Suica. Japanese people just, like, walk around with, like, $500 worth of cash in their pocket, and they'll also be like, my entire 401k is on my Suica. I hope I don't drop it. I'm just like, why the fuck do you need so much money on your train card? And they're like, I don't know, I don't want to charge it. Isn't the Suica just a train card? You can use it to buy a few other things. You can use it in convenience stores a little bit, I think. But yes, it's just a train card. You're supposed to use it to ride the train. And people are like, oh, I'll just put about $500 on my fucking train card. And you're just like, bro, if you drop it, what are you going to do? It's like, I don't know, it's fine. Why would you put so much money on it? I don't know. When you're in Japan, your brain starts to get fried about the security of your various decisions. I don't think you get any refund if, like, you lose it or something, but people still put a shit ton of money on it. I didn't want to buy a new card every time I wanted to use my Hello Kitty Suica card. I'm saying just don't use your stupid Hello Kitty Suica card. I'm saying buy the fucking ticket like your ancestors did. The magnetic ticket that goes chunk in the machine. And then don't use your Suica card if you can't use it. Why buy it? Because it's easier than buying a ticket every time. You just swipe it. And then the money in it goes down automatically. In Japanese society, when you have to quickly go through every single train station at light speed, people just like swipe their Suica, not endlessly. But then some people go overboard and put too much money on it, I think. Just get a credit card at that point. You can't use a credit card to ride the train. Unlike America, Japanese are not at the mercy of Visa and MasterCard. I'll be able to buy DL site porn when I'm in Japan by getting a JCB credit card. Feels good, man. They weren't issuing cards in America, but now that I'm in Japan, I'll be able to get a Japanese one. I can also use other systems like PayPay and shit like that. Do you play Edogaze? I played a little, but I don't have time for that shit. Like, Sengoku Dansu takes like, what, 100 hours to finish? I don't have time to be doing that. Is Mama Ball going too? She's going at a different timing than me. I'm leaving because my mother is starting construction of the entire second floor and there's nothing I can do about that, so... See, if we both go to Japan at the same time, then someone has to take care of the cat. So that's an issue. Trick to playing JP Grinders is cheat engine. Look, I only care about Edoge if it simulates a traditional gameplay experience, except if something bad happens, grim dark rape occurs, okay? I only play Edoge for shock value, except I've become too desensitized to horrible shit happening in my Edoge that I can no longer experience the shock value anymore. So there's really no point in me playing it. This is the problem when your fetish is taboo. You want to experience taboo and horror and stuff like that, but the concept of taboo begins to wear off because you've already experienced it, so it's no longer taboo anymore. That's why incest is so vanilla. Did you guys see the new Jujutsu Kaisen spin-off? I will say that I'm definitely not reading it, and I don't really care what happens in the plot. But I only have one opinion about that, and I hope that all the Dojin authors latch onto it and draw lots and lots of incest content, because the story is about a brother and a sister who are in competition with each other, and they even get in fist fights and stuff, and they're kind of like hot-blooded rivalry. So that can only lead to one thing: intense mating press, baby mating, incest sex with the purpose of procreation. They have to keep the bloodline pure. It's the only way. Nobody gives a fuck about Jujutsu Kaisen. All the Fujoshi gave a lot of fucks about Jujutsu Kaisen until white-haired blind twink boy died, and then they sold all of their goods or something. I don't know. Hot today, Habsburg chin tomorrow. It's okay, it's anime. We need more violent shonen like Kakugo no Susume. I don't think Kakugo no Susume is shonen. Okay, it's Champion. Champion is kind of like in between shonen and seinen, I guess. Kind of debatable whether Champion is shonen or seinen. Actually, defects only occur if repeated recessive genes pass through generations of incest, so it should be fine if it's only like 1,782 repeated cases. Also, I assume that the Jujutsu people have excellent genes that don't have defects in them, so if anything, the incest will only make them more powerful. Alright, hold on, I have to take a piss. Be right back. Oh. Ah. Oh. Incest is only good if it's not pleb tier, half cousin, adoptive, foster step, or hardcore. Default parents, siblings, offspring. The sweet spot for incest is cousins, half siblings, aunt, nephew, niece, uncle, and reincarnation spiritual relation. What about having sex with your own clone? Now neither of us will be virgins. You mean twincest? Wouldn't twincest be having sex with your twin? I'm talking about literally having like a scientific clone of you, except they disable one of the chromosomes if you're a man. So now it's XX chromosome version of you, and then you just have sex with them. Having Down syndrome twincest? Can't if you're a man and you have XY chromosome, can't you just disable the Y chromosome to make like the female version of you? Isn't it that simple? Do we have any gene editors in here? Nah, dude, you just have an X chromosome, but just double it up, bro. Aren't there like actual people who are men because they have XY chromosome, but the Y chromosome isn't functioning properly, so then they look like women? I thought that was a thing. Basically, Griffith. Unfortunately, even if we did some messing around with my genes, I don't think I look like Griffith. Griffith is just very feminine. All these problems could have been avoided if only Guts had just given the bussy the dick. But no. I have to use my time machine to go back in time and NTR Casca away from Guts and make her my waifu. So then Guts can be balls deep in the Griffith bussy. And then a lot of pain and suffering inflicted on the world can be avoided. I'd be fucking Casca for the good of humanity. You don't understand. It's not just because I want to have brown tomboy sexo. I think mind-broken Casca should be forced to watch Farnese quell the beast of darkness in Guts sexually. That would be the best cuck queen ever. I forgot. What was the lolly's name? I can't even remember. Shirike, that's right. I only like 2 females in the Berserk universe, and one is the thin-eyed prostitute that was able to survive, and the other is what's her name? Slan-chan. Slan-chan is the cutest. Slan tried to rate Guts fuck Slan. Slan was just giving a little bit of friendly surprise sex. Who can beat Slan? Here, I'll draw an image of him right now. Women don't stand a chance. Is that you? Unfortunately, I'm not fat. I don't have a giant penis. I don't drink strong zero. And my cell phone doesn't have a hypnosis app. And it doesn't seem to be working very well recently. So I don't think I would trust it even if I had a hypnosis app on it. The AC is so fucking loud in your room. Either that or your computer fan. I don't know. I have a fan going. Maybe you just have the audio up too high. What happens if I turn off the music? It's a little bit. I don't know. Shut the fuck up. There's nothing I can do. My room is hot. It's like 85 degrees, dude. My favorite hentai meme is evil sexo sluts like demon women being like, oh ho 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 ho, I will tempt this ugly bastard, and then in the next panel being like, oh no, his penis is too powerful. I've made a terrible mistake. I have no option but to lovey-dovey hand-holding sex impregnation. The most based of all hentai concepts. Who is your favorite Ojo-sama? The question you have to ask first is, do you want golden hair, blonde drill Ojo-sama or black haired Himecut Ojo-sama? Those are the two options that you first have to ask yourself. Why not both? We should have more where you have a multitude of multi Ojo-sama, different Ojo-sama archetypes. It happens a little bit once in a while in hentai where like you have some guy who is hired to be the maintenance employee at an Ojo-sama school or something like that. And every girl is like the daughter of some Zaibatsu or some shit like that, but it's not that often, I think. In general, they usually want to have a wide variety of economic classes just to make it more interesting. It's actually more common to have multiple Ojo-sama and Yuri comics, right? Where it's like you go to like a Catholic school where all the girls are Ojo-sama, and you know what happens at fucking Catholic schools or Catholic S schools in Japan. Just endless amounts of yuri, lesbian sexo. I thought you were going to say rigorous prep for Tokyo University, but okay. If we're going to be even more realistic, in actual Ojo-sama schools and fictional Ojo-sama schools, they don't have to prep for Tokyo University because they have a university that's attached directly to the underschools. So Tokyo University is a public university, but actual Ojo-sama, they get into like these private schools at elementary school, and then they have like an escalator system in which they just go straight up the system, and they don't have to do rigorous studying the same way people who have to do for public universities. So it gives them more time to have lesbian sex under the, you know, in the church with the statue of Maria. I mean, talking about situations in which ugly bastard dick correction is needed, but I digress. They have all the women's universities, which is why they have manga based on awkward women in their 20s who spent zero time with men. Yes. I don't know how real that shit is. I imagine that at the university level, those women might be, you know, doing some sluttery on the side, but who the fuck knows? This isn't America. The truth is the cock carousel in Japan isn't really rotating as hard as it's supposed to be, regardless of the birth rate. Despite all the incels screaming about it online, it's not that hard to encounter women who are completely incapable of having a conversation with men or perhaps other human beings altogether. Church dropped the ball by not having more statues of Maria instead of crucified Jew. You can just go to Mexico, I guess. Oh, Mary Sama, Mother of Jesus. Part of why I hated dating in uni was because most girls had even worse conversation skills somehow. Yes, if you have vagina, men will be interested in you, even if you don't say any interesting things. So, it's not as hard to go through life without developing any kind of a real personality. And then once you hit, 45, and men aren't as interested in your vagina as before, then sometimes you have a problem. But really, it's not that much of a problem because men are somehow still interested in your vagina even after 45, because men are extremely desperate creatures. Imagine talking to people couldn't be me. I don't have any problem talking to people. As you might have noticed, I run my mouth non-stop. The problem is when, they trying to get those people that I've been talking to nonstop to like me. That's kind of the problem. After I've said 10,000 offensive things. Get people to like you challenge, difficulty impossible. I'd date a 45 sugar mommy, to be honest. See? I said that it wasn't hard. Men are extremely desperate creatures. BB likes talking to his family and us, the chat. I don't actually like talking to people, but I like talking to people when there aren't any serious consequences to the things I say. Because it means I don't have to self-censorship myself, which is what makes it stressful for me to be around people. See, as someone with the Asperger gene, what happens is if I have to self-censorship, it's just like not very fun. The thought in my brain just comes out unrestricted, flowing freely. If I have to take any break to think about whether I should be talking about giant futa cocks or something, whether it's appropriate or not, suddenly it's not very fun anymore, That is an interesting discussion. Unfiltered talk. I'm always unfiltered, if you haven't noticed. This is one of the problems with people on the autism spectrum, is that they're considered to be like an open book and they can't shut the fuck up about things that they're not supposed to say. That's a good topic. We're not talking about giant futa cocks, alright? I don't care how much you guys want to talk about that. I enjoy talking to other people. The issue is maintaining connection. Yeah, what if... See, I can talk to other people, I just don't know what they're thinking. So I might walk away from a conversation and be like, that was normal. And then like 8 months later, I'll find out that people hate me or something like that. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. This is the problem that having like total lack of empathy results in. Did you see Marvel Rivals Angela? People were telling me about it, I guess. It's okay. I don't like Marvel Rivals art style that much. I think it's a little too sharp. I think the angles are a little too sharp. And it kind of struggles to make some of the female characters look properly feminine. But I guess, considering we haven't fully exited the drought of shitty DEI based sex censorship in video games, we should probably take whatever we can get. If you aren't meeting like twice every week outside of school work, you won't stay in touch for long. Yep. I just have no idea how people maintain relationships in adulthood, and like also I don't have any understanding of how like people go from like friendly stage to like romantic stage, and I've never been able to understand that, and I assume there's a lot of nonverbal communication going on there, but don't ask me what the fuck's going on. I don't know. There was a once time that I was in Hawaii for a wedding, and I was on the beach, and my mother kept on telling me that there was another woman on the beach that was checking me out, and I had noticed that woman, and for the life of me, I could not tell what the fuck she was talking about. And my mother was like, "She's making nonverbal communication with you," and I'm like, "No, she's not. You're fucking psychotic." Nonverbal communication is a thing that people do every day, just like looking at each other and like saying something without saying anything. But for someone on the spectrum, it sounds like when my mother points that shit out, it sounds like she's like having some sort of schizophrenic episode. It's like, is the nonverbal communication in the room with you right now? It's that kind of feeling. It's like, what the fuck is this person talking about? Are you crazy? That shit ain't real, bro. I just go over and be like, hey, my mom says you're checking me out, are you? Yes, that's not how you're supposed to communicate. As autistic as I am, I know that is not the good communication that will give me the high social link score. I've played enough Persona to understand how these things work. Issue is for women, we won't approach men because of safety. Okay, you're giving yourself too much credit. The reason why women don't approach men is because they don't have to approach men. Because men are socially... it's already determined that men are the ones who have to make the first move. That's just like how the dating protocol works. Why would you go out of your way to approach a man when you don't have to in the first place? If anything, maybe women should approach men so they can self-select better. Because I want to choose the guy I date? Yeah. So if you approached men on your side, then that would allow you even more choice on the guy you date. The truth is that approaching someone and being the person who's approaching someone, it puts you in a disadvantage because you're basically saying that I want your approval, right? So that means you're already starting at a disadvantage. So nobody wants to actually do that. Anyways, I don't see how, yeah, the whole safety argument doesn't make sense because you're not going to understand whether a guy is not going to be a psychotic ex-boyfriend, multi-murderer until you actually know them for a while in the first place. So it's not like they're going to say it on their dating profile. There's basically no way to escape that possibility. Like most men aren't like that. Depends where you're finding them. Go to the local crack tavern. Add this to the list of reasons why trying to date is pointless. I lost interest in trying to date when I realized that life wasn't like my Square Soft RPG in 1997, and I was going to have where I was the main character and I was going to have a group of my best friends and also a beautiful woman who was going to love me no matter what throughout my life, and then I would have some amazing destiny and a location to get to, and we were all going to be together forever and going toward a happy ending and some shit. When I realized that that was fiction, I kind of lost interest in the whole process, honestly. I was just like, yeah, what's the point? I mean, especially when you can date somebody, which is a huge amount of work, get to like a relationship, which is a huge amount of work, then get to marriage, which is a huge amount of work, and then like what, 70% of marriages end in divorce in America? And then you lose half of your money. Percentages of marriage that end in divorce, US. 50% will end in divorce or separation. Researchers estimate that 41% of all first marriages end in divorce. Bro, sign a prenup. Yeah, it's easier just to not have any kind of relationship with anybody. Didn't Una divorce Titus in some epilogue? Titus died. I like that conversation. Not only did he die, he didn't even exist in the first place. Una getting cucked hard. Talk about not putting the pussy on the pedestal. My man. Una was like, baby, don't go. And he was like, LMAO, I was never even real. Bye. Zip. He zipped out. And she was like, no. I'm gonna die a lonely cat lady. Keck W. Yuna became a singing idol slut anyway. A singing idol slut that can shoot magic out of her asshole when she sings and, you know, changes clothing and stuff. Final Fantasy X-2 is the gay agenda. Final Fantasy X-2 is just a bunch of extremely gay girls changing clothes in front of each other. Also, lots of cousin incest going on there as well, I'm sure. Imagine all the insane amounts of cousin incest going on between Riku and Yuna on the airship in between missions. Final Fantasy 12-2 is just otaku pervert shit masking as progressive lesbian nonsense. Someone has discovered the truth. Yes, lesbian nonsense is basically just otaku pervert shit for creepy men who don't want to see men invading their beautiful fantasy of cute girls doing cute things. I'm glad you finally noticed. Just like a large percentage of gay content is for women who want to see hot guys doing hot guy things and impregnating the yaoi hole. I will say that among all the different like slash fiction subgenres, the Yuri pigs are probably the most mentally deranged, significantly more than Fujoshi. You should see some of the Yuri pig comments on Yuri manga. Genuinely, why do girls like 10-2? Girls are simple creatures. If you give them dresses and allow them to change into dresses non-stop, repeatedly, while playing a video game, they'll enjoy it. This is why every single Barbie game has some sort of dress-up mechanic. Or pretty Cure girls get pretty dresses when they become magical, you know, and they spin around, become magical shoujo. It's like asking why men like robots. But incel Chud-kun, why do you want a Gundam so much? And you're like, you just don't understand. There are hardly any high-budget games targeting towards women or girls. Let us have something. I was gifted Starview Valley. Not Starview, Stardew Valley in PS Plus this month, but I don't think I'm probably going to touch it. If we're talking about girl core. Okay, first, robots, especially mecha types, have practical sci-fi application. No, they do not. Men like robots because they want to be huge and powerful, and Japanese mecha are avatars of the pilot. I like robots because I have hot-blooded, manly blood flowing through my veins. And when the planet is being threatened by giant space bugs, the sense of justice in my heart, it activates powering up both myself and my robot together. And it allows me to shoot a giant laser beam that is larger than the entire solar system. I did enjoy the shit out of Stellar Blade, but I also love Nier. How much more would you enjoy Stellar Blade if instead of skin-tight jumpsuits, she was wearing frilly magical dresses? Because that will either confirm or deny my theories about female gender dynamics. If Stellar Blade was a magical girl game, I'd fucking lose my shit. I mean, it kind of is? I don't know. I mean, she doesn't do much transformation, so I guess it's not magical girl. I think, like, for both magical girl and tokusatsu sentai content, what's important is that they transform. So you could say that Kamen Rider and Ranger Sentai stuff are all magical girl content, considering, well, maybe is when did Minky Momo come out and when did Kamen Rider come out? Which is earlier? Minky Momo 1982. Okay, it's about 10 years after Kamen Rider, which was 70s. So I guess it's the opposite. My whole shoujo stuff is actually offshoot of Kamen Rider. Which yokai makes you hard as fuck? I like the concept of Yukio-na. That way I can just die from hypothermia and be with my waifu. My black-haired trad Japanese waifu. And just die in the fucking snow. Seems like the best way to go out. That one anime with the Yuki Onna got me acting unwise. There's lots of animes with Yuki Onna, by the way. The classic yokai anime, Jigoku Sensei Nube, had a sexy teacher that was his co-worker, but she got dumped because the authors introduced a Yuki Onna character halfway through and the Yuki Onna became too popular and they had to replace her. BB gets his dick frozen off. Nah, I'll just die. Apparently dying from hypothermia is like one of the best ways to go because you just sort of fall asleep, so... What's the really tall lady yokai who makes the weird noise? They all make weird noises when you stick your penis in them, am I right, boys? Ba-boom, ba-boom, chi. You're probably thinking of Hashaku-sama. I never heard of her until recently. She's definitely a more, she is a Twitter thing. I don't think she's a Twitter invention, but people weren't really talking about her until she became popular on SNS. Have Onis and Orcs ever banged? Orcs don't have the ship making knowledge to reach Japan, the mythical island of Japan. So I think the answer is no. Recommend us 3 magical girl stories. I don't know, just watch some of the Pretty Cure content. Actually watch classic 90s Sailor Moon. Classic 90s Sailor Moon is so fucking kino. There's a reason why it was so damn popular. What I like about Sailor Moon is that the main character is legitimately retarded, which makes me like her even more. I liked in the 90s how like half of the protagonists for our stories basically were completely incapable of functioning in society because they had an IQ of like 70. Because I grew up on both Sailor Moon and Doraemon, and both Usagi and Nobita are basically just like incapable of functioning in society without either their robot boyfriend or fucking magical powers or whatever. Actually, Usagi isn't even capable of functioning in society with her magical powers. She has the equivalent of Doraemon in her sexy college level boyfriend from who is gonna save her ass whenever anything goes bad. Usagi was meant to be relatable, which I feel makes it worse. LMAO. It's especially ironic because the author is like highly capable and was born into wealth. So I don't know why she was like, you know what I'll do for the main character? I'll make her a fucking ditzy dumbass. But yeah, that's what she... I mean, this was just the 90s. People weren't expected... People were like... No, yeah, like, so in the 90s the whole thing was like, you're supposed to relate to the main character, so we'll make them like a loser, but then, you know, somehow they'll get the hottest girl in the school or something like that. Nowadays, instead, everybody is like so insecure, they don't even want to deal with that, the concept of them possibly being a loser, so instead they're like, they have all their fucking chuny fantasies. They're like, I'm so perfect, I'm so strong, I can do nothing wrong. All the girls like me because I'm awesome, and so on. Back in the 90s, there was like, why does this loser get a girlfriend? Naoko Takeuchi seems so classy as well, but I guess she looked at 13-year-olds and depicted them realistically. 13-year-olds are idiots. Reminder that that 13-year-old is dating a college student. Just want to point that out. Motherfucker's literally in college. I don't want to do the Twitter, oh my god, this is statutory rape thing, but tuxedo mask kind of might be a little bit of a problem. post to Twitter, BB. Honestly, if Tuxedo Mask doesn't take her, I'm afraid that the rest of society is going to have to deal with Usagi, so I think it's better off for all of us if he picks up her dumb ass. He's saving all of us from her. No girl wants a boy her age. Yeah, but what boy in fucking college wants to date a 13 or 14-year-old who behaves like a 12-year-old? The guy has to be busy going around getting drunk, having sex with college-age girls. FBI agent in chat waiting for answers. If this is modern setting, Tuxedo Mask is being forced to drink way too much alcohol at his welcoming party to college, and then one of his female senpais is taking him into a love hotel. Why is it that usually the main cast of characters consists of 2 males and 1 female? That depends on what kind of genre you're reading. If it's shonen, then it'll be 2 males and 1 female, so there will be conflict. If it's shoujo, there will also be 2 males and 1 female because there will be conflict. If it's harem, then there'll be 30 females and 1 male because men just want to jack off to the concept of having a shit ton of girls around them. The answer is because men feel powerful by fighting over women and obtaining their women through personal accomplishments, and women feel powerful watching men fight over them because it makes them feel desirable. So in both cases, it's sort of a bonus for the MC. However, in more modern shonen, the female character only exists to serve as the beard for the 2 male characters, so it isn't too obviously that they're gay for each other. Sasuke, have you ever considered Sakura's feelings? Slurp, 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 suck, 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 suck. Shut the fuck up, Naruto. And so on. We know how these things work. Women freak out when you pull a gun on the other guy. Women want to see men getting in, well, not even fist fights. If we're basing this off of like Fujoshi content, women want to see the 2 men fighting over them, grab each other's collars and pull each other very close and stare into each other's eyes passionately. Le Fujoshi diagram. Here we have Otomege setup number 1. Otomege 101. I am just an average looking normal female. I'm just very plain looking, which is why my anime avatar is that of a very cute girl. But I'm still plain looking, and I go to this school where all these hot boys are fighting over me. Kya? What am I supposed to do? This is the equivalent of a man going to an alternate dimension and having like 8 million cheat powers and being like, damn, I'm so powerful. I hope I don't mess up the local social structure or whatever. This is how women express their power fantasies, by men fighting over them. We need Rule 63 Twilight right now. Jacob-kun, please. Don't fight over me, Kya. Jacob-kun, please don't have sex with my toddler. Honestly, Twilight feels outdated. To really appeal to the female demographic in 2025, it should just be a story about Eduardo-kun and Jacob-kun and their very strong friendship. And then Bella can be there sort of watching from afar and being like, don't fight over me, but I think at this point we've all understand that women are only getting in the way of the strong homosexual tension that comes from being a man. Twilight will be 20 years old this year, and this is where I just become dust and disappear. On the other hand, I wasn't really paying attention to Twilight when it actually came out, so I probably wasn't really aware of it in 2005. I would have been in my first year in college and nobody was talking about Twilight. What's the time? Alright, 6:55. Alright, see you around, guys. I'm going to end the stream here. I will continue grinding. I might have to start doing shit for preparing to go to Japan soon, which might affect my streaming schedule, but for now I'm still drawing all the time. See you around, guys. Good night.